Hey there you guys, it's Blake here with another video, this time pertaining to my Acura Integra. It's a 1995 model with the B20B swap in it. Now when I bought the car, it originally had the swap done, and I had went through checking out all the wiring and everything, because just one wire will screw the whole car. um, may not start right, may not run right, just so many different things if you don't have your wiring done right with these swaps. Whenever you are going to possibly purchase a car that has motor swapped in it, it's always nice to see that there isn't like thousands of wires, tied together and stuff. Basically, it shows that they took a harness, the harness that came with the car, and then when they did the swap, they just tried to leave it in there and bypass and get past solenoids and whatever, etc., etc. Whenever you buy the right harness and everything pretty much lines up. um, you know it's difficult, but you can see in the wiring underneath the hood and everywhere else that if they were soldering in places that sometimes you have to do that, like with the transmission, to get all the lights to work and stuff, the reverse light and so on. You might find a little bit of wiring in there, like I found on mine. Another thing, is just check it out. Make sure you drive the car. Make sure all the blinkers, everything, just make sure everything works, from the windows, if it's got a sunroof, anything and everything. And when it comes to the motor and the transmission, make sure it's shifting smooth, it's not ticking. Obviously, you don't want to buy a car with a bad motor just because it has a swap with a bad motor. What's that gonna do you any good? Now, another thing also to check is just basic function of everything. From your wiring to your fan relay, and so forth and so on. Buying a car, a Honda, Acura, whatever the car might be, with its wiring, it's very, very, very important that you get everything hooked up correctly. So think about this before you buy a swapped out car, because I've seen rats' nests underneath the hoods of the car, and yeah, it worked, but oh, I can't get my tag lights to work and my blinkers don't work, and just little things like this, and you gotta run through the whole wiring and find out why. And it's just a big pain in the butt, narrowing down your wiring, other than taking it to an electrician and having him either make you something that, if it needs, like if your blinkers are not blinking, and everything is good in the car, you're gonna have to go in there and tap into something to get those blinkers to work again. So that's just for instance. Now, like, if you're having starting problems and stuff like that, diagnose and check your wiring and battery cables and stuff like that, because that can be just a simple quick fix. Now if you're having any other problems, let me know. I have a good friend that's really great with the wiring on these Hondas. He's the man. I'll try to get a hold of him for you. He's the one that helped me basically told me to go look underneath the hood of my car at my wiring, and he said that from what it sounds like, and I showed him pictures and what it looked like, you know, the guy had done a good job on the wiring, which was awesome. Everything works in my car. All the electrical parts, the motor and everything is fine. It's just fine. Everything is fine. Sometimes this doesn't happen for everybody, you know. The wiring is the biggest part of it, because I mean, other than the wiring, and it's just taking the motor out and training out and doing the physical labor. Now the wiring is it's going back to the ECU, and the ECU tells the car what the fuck to do. So if something's not hooked up correctly, it's not gonna do what it's supposed to do. Like if you have a motor that needs an OBD02 and you only have an OBD01, then you're gonna have to, you know, switch that out, put different ECU and stuff. In some instances, you can get away with using the stock ECU. Just depends on your swap. But this is just a couple things that I wanted to put out there. As I go along with this car, I learn more and more about, you know, how the wiring works and everything. And what I can say is, if you're gonna buy a motor and a tranny and do the swap and get the motor mounts and everything, all your mounts, please get the harness that came with the motor, because that is what's gonna make the car run right. And if you have different numbers on your ECU before the swap, make sure that they're the same numbers or they're compatible before you go ahead and, you know, start wrenching and stuff. You might need to buy an ECU, which isn't a big deal. You can go to your local pull-it yard and find them all day long. Just depending on what the car is. If it's a GSR, good luck there. But like, you know, you can go to the junkyard and find LS's and Acura Integra LS models. And like I said, depending on your year and the motor's year, make, you know, your ECU is going to fit accordingly. So make sure you study up on what you're going to need before you do the swap. A B20 swap, you're looking at about $1,000 out the door with parts and labor. So, you know, you can rip that 1.8 out of your Integra and put that 2.0 in there and be banging gears in a weekend, you know what I mean, as long as you know what you're doing when it comes to the wiring. Because if you have a couple buddies combine, you know, taking parts off the car and get a cherry picker and pull the motor out of there, then you can really lay the wiring out and look at what you need. If you need to pull the whole wiring assembly loom out and just make sure everything, if it's a two-prong plug, that make sure that, you know, it works. You know, you're gonna do a lot of diagnostic checking. You know, you can do it with the motor out of the car and stuff. It's no problem. You know, just to make sure one thing after another, check it off your list. Your fan, fuel, you know, your intake, just everything that, you know, the car needs to run. So I'm gonna end it on that. Please subscribe, and if you want to, go ahead and leave some comments and questions, and I'll try to answer them for you accordingly. But there is so much out there in Google, like Honda forum and stuff like that, they have every answer just about for your question. So enjoy the video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and keep your Honda Acura is rolling fast. But I'm out. Peace.